Hamilton, last week's pole sitter. Darrell Waltrip starts in 20th spot. And further back in the field, we've got some of the new starters. Marlowe making his first appearance in one of these trucks. So too Randy McDonald. In fact, we have a total of 3 drivers who are making their first truck racing appearance here this afternoon. We talk about Robbie Gordon, who will jump into the 42 Kyle Petty Winston Cup car next year as Kyle starts his own deal. Greg Marlowe, an area short track star, and Randy McDonald, I believe the first Canadian ever driving truck racing. Missed the field. Bunch of guys missed the field, fellas, because there were 54 trucks who came here. Got several second-generation stories among those who did not make the cut here today. For example, Jason Jarrett is Dale's son, Ned's grandson. Brad Means is Jimmy's son, and Clint Mears is the son of the famous former IndyCar champion, Rick Mears. We'll take a quick break and come back as the truck circulated under yellow at North Wilkesboro. We'll be following the action with the onboard cameras today, our in-truck cameras, if you will. We'll begin with Mike Bliss looking off the roof there as the Team ASE truck prepares to go to war here today. Bliss has had kind of an up-and-down season. On board with the Dodge of Rich Bickle now, a man about whom there were several announcements made this week. We'll get into that in more detail a little later. Brian Reffner is your current Cintas Series rookie point leader as we look out the back of his truck. So we're just about set to get down. Here's the pole sitter's view out the back as we come to the green flag, and the race is on at North Wilkesboro. Benson, the pole sitter by a truck length, now make it 2, now make it 3 as he hooks up big time down the backstretch, opening a little bit of a gap over Mark Martin as they work lap 2 here. Winston Cup guys, followed by Mike Skinner sitting in 3rd spot. And is that Hensley in trouble immediately?
I think it's Kelly Denton.
It is Kelly Denton, indeed, who's driving kind of an R&D truck for the Dodge organization there. Some speculation that he might replace Hensley next year, but he's got trouble early on.
I think we have a replay, and we'll see exactly what happened to the 03. There we see Darrell Waltrip. That's 5, and right in front of them is Kelly Denton just losing the back end, Kyle, on that part of the racetrack you were talking about.
Yeah, I was watching that, and it didn't really show up on the monitor. They checked up in front of him, and he checked up really quick, and he's in the loose part of the racetrack. It just jumps out from under him.
It's only Kelly's 2nd appearance in the Truck Series, but he's a young man that many feel has a bright future. Graduate of the go-kart wars, once won 52 straight races in a go-kart. That's pretty impressive.
There's Randy Renfro. If you watched the race from Martinsville last week, ran so well, and John Nemechek in the 8 truck, the Delco Remy truck.
What's familiar about the shot of number 41 running around on the outside, guys?
Yeah, right. Loves that outside, does Randy Renfro.
Yeah, obviously, if you listened to us last week, he hadn't been to North Wilkesboro either.
No.
This is his 2nd straight first rodeo, right? He's working there with Nemechek and Miller. We talk about the guys that are going elsewhere. Butch Miller is also on that list. There will be a big silly season for the truck racers, too, as slots in next year's racer lineup get filled. Currently watching 10th, 11th, and 12th positions. This is just the tail end of the top 10. The weather threat is substantial here today. The race, in fact, rain delayed. About, well, not half hour, we'll call it. As they dry the track, you can see still spots of dampness. Pit road would be a little wet for the Cup cars, but in this case, Benny, that's not a big issue, is it?
No, it certainly isn't, because these pit stops are mandated by NASCAR. There we see Darrell Waltrip. That's a battle for 14th spot as he goes by Jimmy Hensley in the Mopar Dodge truck, takes a spot away. Darrell Waltrip, one of the biggest winners here at this racetrack over the years in Winston Cup division.
He's won more than 10 races on this racetrack, many of them driving for Junior Johnson, who is the local legend, with all due respect to Benny Parsons and the rest of the guys who grew up in this neck of the woods. Junior is kind of the sage of North Wilkesboro, and it's sad that he won't be here tomorrow for the last Winston Cup race. He's retired from the sport. Here's Hornaday working up on the outside here and having a pretty good battle with Resendiz as last week's pole sitter in number 48, Bobby Hamilton, gets a little sniff of that battle.
As a matter of fact, Resendiz is probably working over Hornaday. Now Hamilton's going to try to do the same thing. And Ron Hornaday losing positions.
Definitely going the wrong direction. He's back to 18th spot, having started 16th. This is for 4th, and they're going to swap that spot as well as Refner picks up a position, and you're riding with him.
There we see Hornaday trying to fight back on the outside of Bobby Hamilton, the STP truck.
Let's check in with Marty Snyder down on pit road. Marty Reed.
Well, David, I talked to Ron Hornaday right before the start of the race. I said, what are you going to do with this threat of rain? He says, hey, I'm not worried. We're just going to lay back, try and conserve the tires. If I'm in the top 10 by the mid-break, that'll be good enough.
A little strategy dictated by the weather and also by the tires. And guys, let's elaborate on this tire situation. You've talked about how the racetrack is worn out. What is that doing today in terms of tire wear for the trucks? Ooh, a little contact there. You see that jerk?
Actually, I guess the racetrack tire kind of wears the tires lose their grip on this racetrack.
Yeah, they really lose their grip, and they really lose their grip quick. The problem is, you know, they had qualifying yesterday, and we had all the practice yesterday with the Winston Cup cars and with the truck. Then it rained last night. It washed all the rubber off. You're back to a green racetrack. So when you're back to a green racetrack, it'll wear the tires really quick. So they want to be very careful in this first half of the race.
And again, the surface here, folks, is once again very abrasive, and that is causing the problem. There we see Darrell Waltrip has gotten by John Nemechek and Jimmy Hensley trying to work on the Doug George Ortho number 21. And Resendiz in the QVC truck has caught this group.
Depending on what happens with the weather here, some anticipation that we'll get another shower before this thing is over. If not, we would look for the trucks to come in between lap 30 and 40 for a mandatory yellow. And what they're going to do is pull one truck out of the lineup so that the Goodyear engineers can check tire wear, and then they'll make all the relevant decisions about when the mid-race break will come and when we might see the so-called competition cautions. Here is your leader. He's led it from the get-go. Johnny Benson got a pretty good run going as you look out the back and see them all chasing the Pennzoil truck here at North Wilkesboro. We'll be right back. Back at North Wilkesboro, Johnny Benson is your leader. The reigning Truck Series champion Mike Skinner up in the second spot, having worked his way around Mark Martin, the outside pole sitter here today. The action thus far pretty much a single file affair.
There we see 229 laps to go.
We're going to do right side tires first on the first stop.
Somebody's talking. I don't know exactly who that was. As we see Butch Miller, the 98 truck, the best is trying to get by the Dodge. Cummins Dodge of Rich Bickle, and there's the 22 of Kenny Wallace trying to follow.
As the spotters discuss strategy, this is the battle at the tail end of the top 10. 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th on your screen at the moment.
Looks like old DW's got a pretty good run going.
Yeah, he was getting a little strap there going in turn 3. It looked like he wanted to make it 3 wide, so he backed out a little bit and let him go.
Wallace got a pretty good run going here so far. At least he's headed the right
Lowe truck
direction.
down low, clear to move up.
He's come from 15th starting spot.
Jack Sprague just got by the Joe Rutman truck. And there's Randy Renfro. He's on the inside. I've never seen him on the inside of a racetrack yet. Rutman's trying to take that spot back.
Get back out there where you belong. He makes it work up top.
He does make it work. I'll tell you one thing. With this rough racetrack and wearing tires, you definitely don't want to go to the top of the racetrack right now, do you, Kyle?
No, you don't want to be at the top of the racetrack on brand new tires because you have no place else to move to once the tires are worn out.
Butch Miller, for the moment, content to follow this battle and see how it'll work out. It looks like Rutman gets the edge, so Miller looks to the bottom. Renfro holds his ground up there, but is definitely going the wrong direction. He's in 8th, threatened by the 9th place Miller. There's old DW, Darrell Waltrip.
Clear.
Starting 20th is up in the 10th spot. DW going towards the front.
Of course, he had to do that last week at Martinsville as well. as the lead battle tightens up a little bit. Look at the black 3 of Skinner making the challenge on number 18. Looks Johnny Benson under attack. Benny?
He is under the attack. Slow cars, some of the lap cars. Benson trying to work his way there. We see he's going by Walker Evans, trying to get by on the outside. And he uses him as a pick and able to gain a couple of car lengths on Skinner.
Skinner wasted no time putting Mark Martin away, and now has put a couple of lap trucks between himself and Martin. His focus is clearly on the man in front of him. That 18 truck has been passed around some. Now we pick up Hornaday in a bit of a scrap here with Nemechek.
That's a battle for 15th. So Ron Hornaday just not able to go to the front like we thought he would.
Scoring update shows him in 17th spot, so indeed he has lost a position. A little brief contact there between Hamilton and Nemechek as Hornaday clears that pack. That 17th spot is not what this guy has been looking for or what he's used to. Marty quoted the remarkable statistic at the top of the show. In all but 3 races this year, Hornaday has finished in the top 5. That is consistency. You'd take a season like that next year for your new sponsor, wouldn't you, Kyle?
I'd take 4 or 5 races like that. That'd be all right with me in a Winston Cup season, I'll tell you that right now.
There's Rick Pirelli in the 6th truck trying to go by Jimmy Hensley. He does it. That's Hensley in the 30. That's a battle for the 19th spot. Saw Bill Sedgwick coming off the nose of his truck.
Pirelli was just about exactly a truck length better going in and a truck length better coming out. That's just the way you'd like to be.
And Hensley losing the back end. And there we see Kelly Denton in his team truck.
And Denton, of course, had that problem on the first lap. So the fact that they're running together doesn't say a lot for how well Hensley's machine is behaving. Back up front, this is the lead battle. And Skinner has closed within a truck length and now seems to be sitting there. Benson drove this truck twice this season in the road race at Topeka and finished 6th, and then at Nazareth and also finished 6th there.
Johnny Benson has driven a few NASCAR Craftsman truck races, but this is the first time he's led a race.
Other drivers of that truck this year include David Green at IRP, where it didn't last long, Steve Park at Lowe, where it was spectacular, and Michael Dawkins, most recent driver in that truck. He took a shot at it last week at Martinsville. I would think Skinner wants to get around him pretty bad here with the threat of weather.
I would think he does as well. That's Bob Keselowski, the 29 Winnebago Dodge are going by. And he is the 30th place truck right now.
And of all the Dodge guys, he's the only one that we expect to be back in the truck with which he started this season next year. All the talk is that Hensley will be moving elsewhere. Bickle's going to join Darrell Waltrip next year. Norick has switched to Ford. Walker Evans is going to get out of the cockpit and become an owner next year with a driver yet to be named. So a lot of shakeup in the Dodge ranks. As for the moment, Benson pulls away, opens the gap as the yellow flag has come out. As expected, I would see maybe the number 2 truck. That was the rumor that perhaps the number 2 truck would be the one selected for the Goodyear tire check.
Just like Kyle Petty talked about, with the weather, the rain last night, they know that tire wear is going to be a situation, so they're going to pick a truck, bring him in, and check him out, aren't they, Marty Reed?
Yeah, Benny, we're standing by down here waiting for the call to be made, and crew's got 4 brand new Goodyears ready to go out. The side we're going to obviously focus on will be the right side when he gets in here, and it'll be interesting to see what the technicians and everybody determines, because it could dictate a lot of strategy in this race to come.
Whichever truck is selected, assuming he just comes in, the tires are checked, and he goes back out, he'll get his position back on the racetrack, so there's no penalty inherent in being the name drawn from the hat. It's an unusual procedure, but then the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series operates under its own set of rules. Right?
Marty, looks to me like the 2 truck. I see a NASCAR official there, Barry Dodson, talking to his driver. The signboard is out, so it looks like Mike Bliss will be the truck coming in and checked out.
Yeah, we'll see if Team ASE will pull it down off the racing surface and head for the pits. Yeah, here he comes. Did we mention the scholarship last week for Barry Dodson's son? I don't know if we got that mentioned or not, but scholarship at Wake Forest University has been endowed in the name of Trey Dodson, and Barry's real proud about that. Now we're going to have Barry and his crew checking tires. Let's go back to Marty.
Well, this may be a blessing in disguise also for the team, because take a look at the right front corner of his truck. He's got some damage there. So now the technicians are taking a look, and we're going to have to wait for them because they are not jacking the truck up. And Barry, of course, is looking at the damage, but he cannot change those tires without the NASCAR's permission, or you get a 5-lap penalty.
And I don't think, Marty, I don't think he can even fix the damage to the right front fender. It doesn't appear to be anyway.
Yeah, he cannot touch it, I don't think, because this is strictly for them to observe the tires and make a call. So right now, it looks like a thumbs up so far from everybody. We'll wait for the final official word. They're still working on it, and it looks like they're checking that right front extremely long. So we'll keep a tabs on that one. While you take a look at this, we'll keep an eye on the tire situation here at North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Truck's getting ready to go back to green. Tomorrow on ESPN, we'll have baseball if we need it. If there's a wild card still to be decided tomorrow, you'll see the games on ESPN 2 at 1 o'clock, on ESPN at 4 o'clock. If the wild cards all get decided today, forget about it. Let's go to Marty real quickly.
The Goodyear technicians gave 2 thumbs up on all 4 tires on Mike Bliss's truck. I said, how many laps do you think each truck could go? He says, looking at this wear, I think they can make 80 laps. That's good news for everybody.
And coincidentally, that's when we expect to see a yellow flag, Eddie.
About 80 laps. Now you say 3 times 8, 224, so that's only 240 laps. What are you going about that other 10? As the race progresses, the tire wear should be better, shouldn't it, Kyle?
Yeah, as they put more and more rubber on the asphalt, then the tire wear is going to get better and better and better.
We go green. The tire situation is go. And they're back at war here at North Wilkesboro. This historic old speedway built back after World War II. And where the moonshiners used to come and race their liquor hauling cars. It's a big part of stock car lore.
Well, it did take Benson long to pull away in that gum-out, Pennzoil gum-out Chevrolet.
Sometimes the perception or perspective of the camera off the back is a little deceptive. I was going to guess that at 4 truck lengths. Get up top, it looks more like 3 stretching to 4 as they go down the straightaways. That has been the dominant truck. Skinner came from 3rd to 2nd and has been parked there ever since. And that is Mark Martin, the outside pole sitter, chasing from 3rd.
Brian Repner's the 4th place truck.
We've not seen a lot of Robbie Gordon thus far. He's been keeping his nose clean, staying out of trouble, sitting there in 5th spot. He wrecked that truck on Thursday, and the team said, well, we'll just take it back to Charlotte and put a new front end on it. He said, no, don't do that. Bring the parts up here. Let's stay at the racetrack. Came back and qualified at 6th, and Felix Sabatis was so excited he immediately put out a press release. How proud he was of it.
Now Skinner and Mark Martin both closing in on Johnny Benson. And wow, look at this.
Mike Schlitz on the move. Rich Bickle, too, 13th and 14th, and working their way through the traffic. They're going to hook up here with Renfro, who keeps that 41 on the outside, and there's a good look at it.
North Carolina sweet potatoes.
Benny likes that truck.
Yes, I do. And Mike Bliss. There he looks at Randy Renfro's tailgate. And Skinner takes a look at the tailgate of that 18 truck.
He didn't look at the tailgate for long, did he? He got right up there and looked in the driver's side door and said, buddy, you better gas it up. I'm after you. They're all driving by radar today. Green patches out west mean there's rain in the area. Get whatever position you can. Although at the moment, Benny, the skies don't look bad. Here's back to this battle for 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th positions.
And Randy McDonald in the 01 truck. Oh, and he takes the front bumper, almost does the 16 of Hornaday. Wow, that was close.
Cool, and the tires may have helped Hornaday. He's picked up a couple of 3 spots. He's now 14th as they go chasing Mike Bliss, who was put back in his original position after that yellow. Benny?
And Randy Renfro must have lost 5 or 6 spots when he was hung up behind McDonald. There we see Robbie Gordon losing a spot to Jack Sprague.
Sprague drives by on the inside to take over 4th spot and drop Gordon to, or check that 5th spot and drop Gordon to 6th, where he is soon to be challenged by Joe Ruttman in 7th and Butch Miller in 8th. What do you think about the kid that's going to be driving the car that you drive now next year? Kyle, have you had an opportunity to form an opinion about Robbie Gordon's future as a Cup driver?
I'm going to tell you what, he's done. He went to Charlotte and he run some Winston Cup stuff, some practice over there. He's driven for Robert Yates and them on a couple of occasions, I think, but he's doing a tremendous job in this truck. You know, to come to North Wilkesboro and all the things we've talked about, the weather, the worn-out racetrack, to have never driven a truck before, I'm going to tell you what, my hat's off to him right now. I know all these guys are excited about working with him next year, and Felix is excited about it. So, you know, it's a little bit more competition. I didn't think he was going to be this good. Obviously, there's going to be some competition out there next year.
One more guy for this year's number 42 to beat next year. Is that number 42? Robbie Gordon. Back up front, Skinner got up there, took a look, now has settled in for the moment behind the leader, Johnny Benson. We'll take a quick break and come back with more from North Wilkesboro. Back at North Wilkesboro, under yellow but about to go back to green. It was a quick yellow for Dave Resendiz. Marty, what's up with that?
Well, we talked to Danny Diaz, and he says that Dave reports that the transmission locked up. They're going to try and get him back in to get worked on it, but obviously his race is over pretty much.
He couldn't get it down fully out of the racing line, and so they hooked the wrecker onto it, and they will now pull it out of the way, marking the 4th DNF for that truck this year. Up front, Johnny Benson will head the field at the restart. Skinner has been on all over him a couple of times here. And Mark Martin had closed down the gap when we went to yellow. Let's see what happens on the restart.
A little bit of a bump from Skinner as they come by and take the green flag. That 07 truck is Barry Bodine, Jeff's youngest son.
Barry is 1 lap down in 28th spot, but up ahead of the inside line on the restart. Slips back into his spot in traffic, and here comes the Army. Key guys in terms of the championship, Skinner, who currently sits there in 2nd spot. Jack Sprague, who is 5th, and Ron Hornaday, who has finally turned his day's performance around and is going the right direction as we watch Sprague at war here with the number 44 of Breffner, and there you watch Sprague from out the front of Breffner's truck. Hornaday is up to 11th. He started 16th, had gone backward to 19th, has now improved to 11th.
Jack Sprague has been so good in that Quaker State truck this year. Has a couple of victories and has been a contender almost every truck race. And there we see Skinner once again taking a look. He wants that lead because we talked about it. There could be a rain shower.
They'll have what they call a competition yellow. We anticipate it will come in about 15 laps. The trucks do not bring full pit crews as we watch Skinner working on Benson. When they do a full field yellow like that, they give the trucks back their position after the yellow, so it enables them to do all that service without having to bring those huge crews.
And we see Robbie Gordon, the 42 truck, has worked his way now, Kyle, back to 10th spot. He's finding this racetrack is difficult.
I tell you, on that last restart, I was watching him a little bit. He got hung on the outside. Just one of those things. You get hung, and after a restart, they freight train you. And Hornaday has been all over him, inside, outside. But he's doing a really good job holding Hornaday off right now.
Hornaday will now have his hands full with Mike Bliss, sitting in 12th spot, trying to work his way into the top 10.
Hornaday tries to go by on the outside, so that says Bliss is okay. I think I'll try the inside. And he might get them both right here.
I'd say Bliss got the best of that. They went nearly 3 wide for a moment, and over yet as Bliss is inside and beating and banging.
Bickle just drove it on in and trying to take the spot away. Made some contact with Hornaday.
I don't think they realize Hornaday's leading the points. They're not giving him any respect right now, running over him like that.
Bickle saw an opportunity there, and hey, doesn't say point leader on his tailgate, so any win. It's a pretty fair little truck race right here.
Yes, it is. And finally, Robbie Gordon relinquishes spot 2. Bliss. ASC, Automotive Service Excellence. That's a school where they train mechanics.
And look how quickly that truck pulls away once he completes the pass. Passing is a whole lot more difficult than racing. Catching them's easier than passing them. All of those old cliches that we apply to that business of getting around the guy in front of you.
Especially on a racetrack that's worn out like this is and where their tires are right now. You know, you saw them run side by side for 2 or 3 laps just because neither one of them could get any bite up off the corner.
Look at this. For the lead, Skinner on the inside.
And Benson says, okay. So, Mike Skinner takes the lead. Now we see the 99. Mark Martin says, I think I'll try that.
For the 16th time this year, the Black 3 is out front, and Martin makes quick work of Benson as well. Benson didn't put up quite the fight there that Gordon did for the tail end of the top 10. Any theories about the performance of the Pennzoil truck right now, guys?
I think it's Johnny Benson right now just saving the truck. There's no point in rubbing fenders or anything like that because we still got 171 laps to settle that out.
For 7th spot, Darrell Waltrip works the inside on Joe Rudman.
Still there, clear, all clear.
He's got it.
And there we see Kenny Wallace. It's the Red Dog, number 22.
Good job.
Jeff Hammond sound like Jeff Hammond, Darrell's cheerleader, crew chief, all the above.
They'll have Rich Bickle to work with next year. The announcement made this week that Bickle will be moving over to Waltrip's effort to do some truck racing and also some work in the Winston Cup ranks.
Take the caution, about 4 more laps, Darrell, about 4 more laps. Looking good, bud. Keep it smooth.
That all adds up. He's talking about lap 85. We're at 81, anticipating the first of 2 competition yellows today. This in addition to the mid-race break, and all of this a result of the race being longer this year, 250 laps the distance. Kenny Wallace progress from 15th to 9th. There's one more spot there if he can get it, but Joe Rudman has it.
80 trucks closing back up.
Joe Rudman's back in wiggling on that 80 truck. And I see a sponsor on that car, Team LCI. Is that the long distance, the telecommunications company?
Got it.
Don't they sponsor an IndyCar? Ribeiro or someone? We're not IndyCar people, but anyway, I do see a sponsor on the 80 truck.
That's Jack Roush's organization, of course, and they've got pockets to field a truck all white, but hey, eventually everybody's got to have a sponsor, and it looks like they've got one. This is a pretty good battle involving Rick Torelli and the 43 truck of Bickle.
Michael Dock in the 64.
Harry Gant.
Harry Gant.
Harry's got a little push, he reported during the Goodyear tire check.
Caution flag is out.
3 and 4, Harry. 1 and 2, Harry.
Competition caution at lap 85.
Lowe is still clear. Okay, Lowe, stay low.
Coincidentally,
Rick Johnson in the HQ. First time in that truck, first time for the sponsor. Hey, that's one way, good way to get the sponsor on TV. But you don't want to do it that way.
Rick put her in the show on a provisional in his first drive for the new organization. Coincidentally, at lap 85, we have our caution. We'll be right back. We're back at North Wilkesboro. We're a little more than a third of the way into the Lowe's Home Improvement 250 on this historic weekend at North Wilkesboro, and the entire field coming down pit road where Marty Reed is waiting.
Yes, guys, although today I'm not going to have to do quite as long a sprint to at least keep up with the 2 in the points lead, because here comes Mike Skinner, and right behind him is Ron Hornaday. Now, I talked to the crew, and they said all we're going to do is put 4 fresh Goodyears on this one because Skinner likes the way the truck is handling. No wonder he's been running out front all this time. As far as Ron Hornaday, we're still waiting for Ron to make it into the pits. Here he comes now, and they have maybe putting a couple of turns of wet. Yeah, you can see in the rear end, they're putting at least one turn, a half turn in the left rear, and it looks like they're going to do the same thing on the right rear. So Ron obviously did not make it into that top 10 before this break, so he needs a little bit of an adjustment. Looking at the tires, it doesn't look like there's any excessive wear on all these vehicles. Now, as far as Johnny Benson is concerned, they just were running out of tire a little bit at the end there. They said they would make no major changes, just refuel and, of course, put more fresh tires on. That's it, guys.
They're working out of the back of that 18 truck. I don't know what kind of problem, but they're crawling out of the back of it.
Now remember, under this situation, the usual frantic rush to get out and get track position does not apply. The pace truck is over at turn 2, going about 3.5 miles an hour, so they'll all have plenty of time to get their positions back. We'll take a break and come back with more from North Wilkesboro. Back at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, 1 to go. Back to the green for the trucks. Take a look at your Sunday lineup here. The Sunday buffet has breakfast. This race will be so good, you're going to want to watch it again tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN2. Then as we move through the day, brunch will be qualifying from North Wilkesboro for the Cup cars on ESPN2. That, of course, is a re-air. And then RPM today at noon Eastern Time on the Deuce, followed by NASCAR today. The pre-race show for the last running of the Winston Cup cars here at North Wilkesboro, and you'll see it live at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN. And then tomorrow evening, to polish things off with all the weekend's racing highlights, dinner, RPM tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Here they come to the green flag. Mike Skinner is the leader, trying to pull off a second consecutive truck championship.
These trucks have fresh tires. Hensley on the inside of Skinner trying to get a lap back, trying to get in front of that 3 truck, stay there, and hope the caution flag comes out. So does John Nemechek.
Let's go to Marty.
Well, you guys noticed when they were working on the 18 truck, originally they were going to change just the 4 tires, but they talked about it, decided to add rebound in the left rear shock. We'll see if that turns out to be the right move.
Right now, Benson has Jack Sprague to deal with. Sprague is all over Benson. Benson running in 3rd spot and Sprague in 4th.
And John Nemechek pushing Mike Skinner down the front straightaway. And there comes a whole slew of trucks.
Nemechek's going to get by and unlap himself. He is the 26th place truck. Listen closely, and you can hear the driver thinking, give me a yellow.
Rick Pirelli, Rick Johnson in the 15. Bobby Hamilton, the 48 STP truck.
Stay low, stay low.
You just keep waiting for the mistake, and it doesn't come. These guys are really good at
They
this.
are. Ever see Dan Preston, black 53, right to the right side of the screen. And there's a battle for 3rd spot as Sprague tries to get on the inside of the 18. Somebody's been hammering on that 18 truck.
Yeah, I don't think Sprague just did that. I think that damage has been there a while, but Sprague has been close enough to add his share to the damage estimate. He wants around in the worst possible way. Sprague's got catching up to do in terms of the championship to prevent this from becoming a 2-driver chase. Summary upper left, find your favorite driver. Meanwhile, this battle continues. And Robbie Gordon in his very first truck race holds off for the moment the series point leader Ron Hornaday in the 16. Gordon doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who's going to come here and give a lot of extra slack to the established stars. He's going to treat everybody with due respect, but I don't think he's going to get out of anybody's way, is he?
No, he's not going to pull over and get out. He's a racer. I mean, he's been competitive everywhere he's been. He's been a champion. He's won races. And he's not going to come over here and pull over for him any more than you'd expect Dale Earnhardt to go run Indy cars and just get out of everybody's way when he got there. He's going to be Dale Earnhardt, and Robbie Gordon's going to be Robbie Gordon.
And everywhere Robbie Gordon's been has been a lot of different places. Started in a dune buggy raced by his father. Did that Baja 500 and Baja 1000 thing and still does that. In fact, I'm not sure this is a done deal, but it's supposed to fly back from the desert race in Nevada for his Coca-Cola 600 appearance in the stock car. Went from the desert trucks to IMSA sedans, raced for Jack Roush, won the 24 hours at Daytona before moving on to IndyCar.
And Hornaday trying to. Looks like he's struggling there. We see a battle for third spot. Sprague on the inside of Benson. And Sprague will take that third spot away.
Sat there a long time, and when he made the pass, he made it look easy. Benson going backward. Started on the pole. He is now fourth.
You know, I think these guys go into this race thinking there's going to be a halfway break, and now then all of a sudden they change it to 3 separate breaks, or maybe the halfway break comes later, so it changes your total race strategy. And these guys that were laying back a little bit thinking, okay, I got to run 120 laps on a set of tires. Now they're sitting here saying, I've only got to run 80 laps. They can run a little harder, and these guys are pressing now.
The truck we see right behind Johnny Benson is Rodney Combs, the Lance truck. He is a lap down to the leader.
Benson sits in fourth. Butch Miller is behind the Lance truck and sits in fifth spot, rounding out your top 5, which is headed now by Mike Skinner. We'll take a quick break and come back with more. It's the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series from North Wilkesboro. We're back at North Wilkesboro. Sharp-eyed viewers noticed as we went to commercial break, Jack Sprague slipping by to take over second spot. Now look, Benny, how quickly he has erased the lead that Mike Skinner had.
He's right on that tailgate, and Jimmy Hensley in the 30 of the Mopar had passed Skinner to get back in the lead lap, but right now he's been lapped by Skinner and by the 24 of Sprague.
Marty Reed standing by in Jack Sprague's pit.
Yeah, I asked the guys, I said, what'd you do? Put rocket fuel in this thing to get him from 10th to 2nd, or feed him Wheaties or what? He says, no, we got a good coach talking him through. Up on top of the transporter, Jeff Gordon, working him around this track.
Gordon, of course, part owner? Is that a proper term for his role in that team? It's kind of hard to tell sometimes in Hendrick Motorsports.
Well, that was the announcement that he and Rick were sharing the ownership of this 24 truck. It looks to me like they've got a third partner in there that's done a pretty good job, and that's Quaker State.
And for the moment, the driver's doing his fair part. I'd call it 2 truck lengths difference between the guys who run second and third in the championship standings. Sprague is only 39 points behind Skinner in those rankings. The difficulty for both of them, Ron Hornaday has a lead sufficient that he cannot lose it here today. If he were to drop out of the race right now, Hornaday would still leave this joint as the point leader, and that with only 4 races to go.
And look at Sprague. That truck is really turning well in the middle of the corner, Kyle.
Yeah, that's just watching the truck. Sprague is beating him through the center, which enables him to get on the gas just a touch quicker, which enables him to drive straight up off the corner, and he beats him up off the corner too. So, you know, it's a combination. You can be off in one small place on a short track, and it kills you all the way around the racetrack. Right now, Sprague's just right everywhere he needs to be.
And Jack Sprague is running as low on the racetrack as it's possible to run down in 1 and 2, and also in 3 and 4. He's actually using the concrete strip up in 3 and 4. That's Greg Marlowe in the 9 truck that they were just about to put a lap on, and Hornaday trying to take a spot away from Brian Reffner.
He's working his way closer to the top 10. Hornaday, with that pass, will take over the 11th spot, and Reffner in turn will have his hands full with the tough luck guy from Martinsville, Rick Corelli. Approaching the midway point, and Skinner leads it, but not by very much.
So the field is given the halfway signal. 125 down, 125 to go.
Report that Dave Resendiz has rejoined the fray, whatever the drivetrain problem that left him on the hook early in the race has been repaired, and he's back out there.
And right now, Brian Reffner in the 44 800 collect truck is struggling, and Hornaday's about to lose another spot as Corelli, the 6 Remax truck, gets on the inside, and will take the spot away. So he gained 1 and lost 1. I guess that puts him back in 11th.
And Bickle's going to get another shot at him here. He'll try to follow Corelli up the inside of Hornaday. And there he goes. Not much fight from Hornaday as he got close to the top 10, now slips back to 13th spot.
Bobby Hamilton, the STP truck, who was their pole sitter in Martinsville last week, ran so well. Hamilton right now is in 15th.
STT Chevrolet. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue, does it? It took 5 years to learn how to say STT Pontiac. Now there's an STT Chevy out there.
Man, wow, that was a good move. It turned under the 44 truck and says, see you later.
That was pretty. Looked pretty.
And Michael Dawkins says, while you're out there slipping the slide, I think I'll go on by.
Come on, Michael, come with me. Joe Rutman on the inside of John Nemechek. Nemechek is a lap down. Rutman sitting in 8th spot. Andre Rivero called, by the way, Banger. I want to thank you for putting a plug for his IndyCar sponsor.
No problem. There's old DW. 9th spot, started in 20th, up to 9th.
Not sure what's up here with that 44 truck, but he has definitely been going the wrong way. Refner, I was about to say, is leading the Cintas Rookie of the Year standings, and he will continue to do that today, but he is losing position.
Sounds like the truck's missing, doesn't it, Cal?
Yeah, when they go to the IndyCar camera, it's really, listen, I don't know what's wrong with it. You know, it sounds really, really bad. It's just not running clean, and he went from running in the top 6 or 7 to being lapped.
Yeah, we can hear the truck misfiring.
It sounds like ignition. It almost sounds like an ignition, not like a misfire or something.
Even I can hear that, so it must be pretty bad. That's not what you call 7 cylinders, is it? That's not the kind of thing you limp around with all day.
It hits on 8 every once in a while, but it runs on 3 most of the time.
The leaders go screaming by, and what a frustration this is for Brian Refner. He's had a pretty remarkable career. Rookie, then champion, and everything he's tackled. Trucks are next on his list. We'll take a break and come back with more. And Mike Skinner, who has led some 40% of the laps in truck racing this year, is leading again. He's now past the 1,500 lap mark in terms of laps led. And if you're sitting at home saying, how come he's not the championship point leader? Well, that's because Hornaday has an even more impressive set of statistics. Let's go trackside to Marty Reed.
Well, we were trying to find out the story on the 44 truck, Brian Refner, and the team is not 100% sure why he is missing, but they think it's a carburetor, and they've got one down here. They've got it geared up. They're ready to make the change. They're hoping maybe he can hold on till the break, but I don't think so, guys. I think they're going to have to bring him in earlier.
And they, of whom he speaks, would be Robert Yates, the engine builder for Brian Refner here, and Ernie Irvin, who is one of the owners of that truck.
Actually, this is the first engine that Robert Yates has built for this truck. Lozano out of San Antonio has been the engine builder, and Ernie asked Robert to help him put him an engine together. He agreed, and where he could be at North Wilkesboro to look at the engine, and that's why he's there with the carburetor trying to figure out exactly what's wrong with the 44 truck.
Obviously not an ignition problem. He'd have the option of switching to a backup ignition. And
we got trouble. Dan Press, the 53, goes around down in 1, and the caution is out. Yes, we do have caution flag.
At lap 156, Dan Press looping it and bringing out the second of the racing-oriented cautions of the day and the 4th caution of the afternoon. One was for the tire check, and one was the so-called competition caution. This is our 4th caution of the day, and we'll see if we can get a better idea of what happened to Dan here.
Kenny Wallace on the inside, the 22, that's pressing the 53. And they just make a little contact. Looks like Kenny went up the racetrack a little bit, didn't he, Kyle?
Yeah, but when you get to that point, you know, that's just racing right there. That's it. If there ever was an accident, but that was just racing. They just ran out of racing room and got together.
Dan Press been doing this a long time out in the Pacific Northwest. Came back here to be part of the big weekend at North Wilkesboro. The last appearance here tomorrow for the Winston Cup cars. We'll be right back. Back at North Wilkesboro, the Lowe's Home Improvement 250 at lap 160 and less than half a lap away from going back to the green. The green brought up by Dan Press, who spun. No major harm done to truck or to driver. And now we get back to the business of determining whether anybody here can do anything with the leader, Mike Skinner.
There again in the 33 of the green and purple truck. A lap down at this point of the race. And he drives on the inside of Skinner.
Good job. Keep digging.
Oh, but Skinner comes down the hill. Harry's going to try this one more time, though.
Haven't we seen this before? Haven't we seen Harry and Mike Skinner doing battle like this before? That one came to a bad end. Let's go to the pits and get the Brian Refner story. Marty, what'd you find out down there?
Well, unfortunately, Brian's out of the truck, and it was not a carburetor, was it?
Well, we're not quite sure. Either fuel or ignition or something. We're not sure. And we just, that's a great run. The 1-800 collect board was really running good. Team needed it. You know, it's just too bad something happened. So we're going to look at it, see if we can figure it out and get back out there.
All right, we'll let you to it.
Brian Refner will continue to lead the rookie standings, but is an early departee from this afternoon's race. Harry Gant wedging his lap, number 33, in between the two leaders, Skinner and Sprague. There can only be one leader, right? Skinner is the leader, Sprague is second. Harry is 16th. There's Mark Martin. He sits in third. Butch Miller is now up to fourth. The yellow truck in fifth is number 18, the pole sitter, Johnny Benson.
And there's Robbie Gordon. That's the 42. Sadko truck. He tries to get by the 49. And the 52. That's Toby Butler in the 52. That's Kenny Schrader's AC Delco truck. Butler driving it. And Corelli is literally trying to push Robbie Gordon towards the front.
And Hornaday, number 16, the point leader, sitting back there saying, I wish you guys would get this resolved so I could safely make my way to the end here. Hornaday's had an up and down day. Actually, just before this caution came out, was within, I don't know, 3 seconds maybe of being lapped. Although he's 11th, he was almost a lap down. So the caution helped Hornaday in his quest to continue a remarkable string this year. He has finished every lap of truck competition, and that's one of the reasons where he is in the points.
That is quite phenomenal. And we see these trucks start to lose the back end as they come off the corner. A sign that when they hit the accelerator, they can't get that grip.
We've also had occasional word of sprinkles. And if it's sprinkling out there, you can bet they're going to get the hammer down, try to grab whatever position is available. The threat of rain is all around this racetrack this morning.
I don't think that was a spotter. I don't know what that was. But anyway, Darrell Waltrip losing some spots right now. As Sedgwick, his driver, goes up on the outside, and Darrell Waltrip has some problems in that 5 truck.
And Darrell kind of got into the side of Sedgwick a little bit there, and Sedgwick went right on by. Darrell's got him backed up behind him, and now the 48 truck of Bobby Hamilton has also slowed dramatically.
And Hornaday trying to get by the 42. That's for position.
10th and 11th up for grabs. Hornaday, to my memory, has not been in the top 10 today. This is as close as he has been right here.
Bobby Hamilton, I'm told, the SPP truck off the pace he's on pit road. Looks like he's through for the day.
We're keeping our eye on Gordon. Here he is with Rick Corelli just a moment ago.
They come off the corner. And, whoa, hold on, baby. He brings her back.
He was driving full time right there.
Yes, he was. He was driving full-time. No brakes in that deal. Bobby Hamilton evidently did not have a serious problem. He continues down pit road, back on the racetrack. After watching Robbie Gordon go down in turn 1.
There is a new Gordon in Winston Cup. Jeff, you got company. Robbie Gordon, no relation. And we got trouble at turn 2, a spinner on the backstretch.
But he does the 360. Rodney Combs keeps going. No caution. And Skinner stops, and the 24 truck passes him. Skinner has stopped on the back, and the 24 has taken the lead.
Skinner slowed for the smoke and is now wrecked. Skinner has crashed up at turn 3. He slowed for the smoke. Sprague shot by him, and then he and Harry Gant crashed.
I think Skinner slowed down a little bit too fast in front of Harry. He slowed coming out of 2, and then when they got to 3, I still don't think Skinner quite realized what was going on, and Harry drove on off in there and run in the back of him. It's one of those things.
Well, we alluded earlier to the fact that Skinner and Gant had been engaged in a previous event. Mike got some heat for spinning Harry out. No reason to speculate that this would be any sort of reaction to that. Mere coincidence, I'm sure. But it was rather bizarre. Let's see if we can go back and sort it all out with the replays.
Well, the first thing that happened was Rodney Combs got a tap from the 07 of Barry Bodine. He does a great job, does a 360, but in doing that, he nails the gas, and look at the smoke screen all these trucks are driving through. He drives away.
The smoke is still there.
But the smoke is still there, exactly.
Now, that was part 1 of the adventure.
All right, now then, let's go to part 2. Were you watching part 2, Kyle?
No,
It took about this long, because here they come right now.
And the contact, and Harry Gant hits the wall pretty good with the right front. If Harry Gant intended to hit the 3, he would not have hit the wall.
No,
So
Harry,
he was trying desperate to try to miss the 3.
Here we'll see it.
And here's another angle. There the 24 goes by through the smoke, takes the lead. Now Skinner starts
flat stop for the smoke.
Yeah, he starts to accelerate, and our camera goes back with the 24 truck, and the accident happens behind us.
Wow. So we have a new leader in Jack Sprague, and Mike Skinner's chances for winning this championship have taken a major hit into the turn 3 wall. About 2/3 of the way through the Lowe's Home Improvement 250 here at North Wilkesboro, we suddenly have a new leader. The guy who dominated the middle third has ended up with a truck that looks like this. This is Mike Skinner's machine as they attempt to undo some of the damage that has been done. They can't get fuel in it for one thing. Let's take another look at how this all came about.
That's the biggest problem. They ever see Harry Gant going in the corner a lot faster than Skinner. There's a contact, and Harry goes up, smacks the wall with the right front, just barely, and Skinner will back the thing in the fence.
Another view from Rich Bickle's truck. There's the smoke.
But the smoke was not nearly as bad when he drove through as it was when Skinner got there.
Let's go to Marty.
Well, guys, we're had a bit of a flame down here. Nothing major, but we're looking underneath right now. That's another problem that poor Mike Skinner's got. Let me duck in here real quick. Mike, what was a cruise all of a sudden turned to a nightmare. What happened?
Well, I guess they thought they must have owed us one from Nashville when we spun them out. I don't know. Just one of them racing incidents.
How bad is the damage? Could you tell in the handling coming back in?
No, we didn't run any green flag laps, but GM Goodrich Service Chevrolet is running awfully good, and we're going to fight our butts off, see if we can't get back to the front and still win this thing.
I'll tell you, they are thrashing. They're trying to figure out how they're going to fix the fuel line so that they can put fuel into this thing. And they're also working on, they're going to be having to replace at least one spark plug wire because that's what got burned in the fire up front here. So, oh man, what was really looking good, guys, has turned to near disaster.
Well, that's two different. That's two entire different things, though. I mean, the spark plug wire was going to happen regardless, wasn't it, Kyle?
regardless, if he had a trouble up there that was going to catch on fire and burn something off, that was going to happen whether he wrecked or not.
And just as I was starting to feel a little guilty about having made that reference back to what happened in Nashville, look what's in the mind of Mike Skinner there. The whole key to that deal seemed to be Skinner just slowed way, way down for the wreck that never happened. If you want to know about what's going on in NASCAR racing, hey, the thing to do is check out NASCAR online, www.nascar.com. New stuff, they've got it, live qualifying from NASCAR timing and scoring. You can actually link into the timing and scoring headquarters for all the Cup and Busch races now, and that'll be available for the truck races coming soon. www.nascar.com. We'll take a break and find out more about what's going on with Richard Childress Truck Operation. We return to North Wilkesboro. Chris Morgan has given the field the signal, 1 lap to go. Let's go to Marty and find out who did what during the break.
All right, let's update you on Mike Skinner's situation first. The fire was caused by rubber that got onto the motor housing and ignited. ignited, and unfortunately the spark plug wire just happened to be in the way. Keep an eye on that left rear, though. That fuel tank situation, the nozzle in, there was some overflow still coming out. Ron Hornaday's crew was undecided. They had 2 springs for the rear ready to put on, but they decided not to do it at the last minute. Ron didn't appear to be too happy about that because he says the truck is loose everywhere on the track. As far as Jack Sprague is concerned, his team, all they did was put fuel and 4 fresh tires. Didn't even adjust air pressure. They're ready to go.
That was the halftime break. The green is in the air with the new leader, Jack Sprague.
And the 52 truck dives underneath, and here goes Mark Martin trying to get on the inside. Sprague just had a problem getting started down in the corner and is about to lose the lead.
Mark Martin on the bottom. Toby Butler unlapped himself. Now they're all going to try to freight train by. 75 is Nathan Butke, also a lap down.
But this truck is Johnny Benson, a pole sitter, and he's going to try to take over second spot. And does it.
I'd give it to him. This will be Butch Miller next in line as Sprague gets trapped on the outside, and he's still stuck out there.
Able to get on the accelerator and drive on up off the side of the 24 truck.
Kenny Wallace is 5th, and here are your points leaders suddenly nose to tail. Hornaday and Skinner in the race for 10th, and Gann is in the wall.
Throttle hog again.
The throttle hog again, he said.
Yeah, they don't run over. Looks like it. He gets brakes up for you. Throttle hog guy's going into 3. Hit the hard wall pretty hard. He's going to.
I tell you what, Harry said the throttle hung again. That could have been what happened on that other thing when he got into the back of the Skinner truck, because it happened so quick on him.
6th caution of the day. We'll take another look and see what happened to Harry. Check out the top of your screen. There he goes.
He goes to the corner and bam.
Yeah, you can see how far back he is on the brakes. He's on the brakes just boiling smoke off the brakes as he gets to the corner.
Anything more, any feeling in racing more helpless, guys? I'm sure, I know you've experienced it. Kyle, you must have had one.
Yeah,
hung throttle.
It's going to happen to you. You know, I've always said there's certain things that's going to happen to you as long as you race. You're going to leave the pits with the lug nuts off and look like an idiot at the end of pit road sitting there on your wheels. Somebody's going to leave the hood pins open. You're going to ride around and the hood pin's going to, or the hood's going to slap up on the windshield, and the throttle's going to hang on you. You're going to hit the wall so hard you don't know where you're at. Harry's fortunate that he didn't hit the wall any harder than that, but that's just experience. When he got to that point, instantly it popped into his mind what had happened, and he was okay with it.
So he limps back to the pits. We'll take a quick commercial break and come back with more. The folks have gathered in North Wilkesboro on a Saturday afternoon. Home improvement 250. We get set to go back to green. He took that lead just before the yellow flag flew, and now we'll see if he can hold on to it against the assaults of today's pole sitter, Johnny Benson. Nathan Butke, the lap truck, trying to get in between those two. Now Benson takes it up to the outside.
And Toby Butler did get his lap back in the AC Delco truck on the last caution play, but there again, accelerator hump.
Sprague, who seemed to be struggling significantly just before that yellow came out, hasn't shown any dramatic improvement since we went back to green. There he is, behind Butke, the lap truck, and more significantly, 5 to 6 truck lengths behind second place Benson. Butke is in 20th spot, and now 2 laps down as Sprague works his way by.
Sprague's truck seems to be a little bit more pushy on new tires than what it is. It seemed to come on the long run, and that's when he ran Skinner down to begin with, was at the end of the long run. So maybe as the pressure comes up, you know, a lot of times you make pressure adjustments, and when the pressure comes up, maybe it'll be better.
Let's go to Marty.
Well, we're down here with Harry Gann. What happened? We heard you say the throttle stuck on the radio?
Yeah, the throttle stuck. You know, it's been catching a little bit on the floor, but it wasn't hurting a whole lot. Whenever they had the wreck on the backstretch, and the 24 car, he passed Skinner, and I nailed mine to pass him, and then Skinner, he didn't know I was there. He come down. When I lifted, this throttle stuck for about 2, till I done it hit him. Well, Well, then we come in, beat the floorboard down, thought I had it fixed, it stuck again.
So that was what happened with your incident with Skinner. You just had the throttle stick.
The throttle hung open, and I could have probably, I was sliding the wheel, he could probably got down if I hadn't had a throttle hung on there.
All right, Harry, sorry to see you out.
So that elaboration on the first incident, I'm sure will satisfy Skinner. He'll buy that.
I think so, yeah.
That's what happened. Harry went out and hit the wall the second time just to prove, so there'd be no doubt in Mike's mind that that's what took place.
And Skinner taking a look on the inside of Mike Bliss. That's a battle for 9th spot.
Skinner has moved ahead of Hornaday as they run in 10th and 11th positions.
There's Darrell Waltrip in the 5 truck. He's moved into 14th, and now Butler moves into 15th.
2070 later, 2030. Go after them. Let's go get them.
He said he's running 2070. The leaders are running 2030. That's in seconds. 20.30 seconds per lap.
And Darrell's running in traffic, so he's going to be a little bit slower right now. Mark's running on a clean racetrack, so he's going to get the most out of his truck that he's going to be able to get out of it right now. Once you start catching traffic, everything goes up and down.
And Hornaday has driven up on the outside of Skinner and taken the spot away.
We got one smoking over there, too. That looks to be Greg Marlowe in his very first truck race. And he gave it a pretty good run here. He was, well, 25th, I guess. He was 3 laps down. He'd gotten into more trouble than I realized. But in any case, looks like it may be over. Marlowe's first truck race ends with a blown engine. We'll take a break and come back with more. The laps are winding down here at North Wilkesboro. The green will come out on 196, 54 laps to the finish. And the question, can Mark Martin now hold off the onslaught of Johnny Benson and Jack Sprague and the rest for his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series win? We're at it.
That's a huge break. Having a slow car on the inside, you're able to drive in the corner and get in front of him. You automatically pick up 2 or 3 car lengths. And I see some raindrops on the lens of that camera.
We've been blessed today, as we were at Richmond, in terms of weather. Both of those races were widely expected to be rained out. Richmond, we got past halfway before the rain came. Whoa, look at this. 3 wide for a moment with Skinner in the middle of it.
Skinner was losing positions. It looked like that Sedgwick in the 17 was going to go by. Hornaday had already passed him. He said, look, I got to make something happen. So he dove to the inside, made it 3 abreast. Keselowski, the 17, and Skinner. This is on board the Rich Bickle in the Cummins Dodge.
Skinner's not afraid to make things happen. He knows he can't afford to be sitting behind Hornaday in terms of his hopes for a championship here. Starting to see the raindrops on the onboard as well now. Cloud cover doesn't look a whole lot different than it has all afternoon. Let's hope we can run this one all the way to the finish as we pass the 200 lap mark. 50 laps. Oh. Sounds like a lot of racing. What is it, 15 minutes? What's Hornaday doing up there?
Hornaday going up trying to slap the wall, coming off turn 4.
One of the Craftsman Truck Series officials who's watched Hornaday throughout his career, Owen Kearns, says that Dale Earnhardt has made a tremendous amount of difference in the way the guy you're watching out the back of Bliss's truck here drives a race car. So when he was out on the West Coast, if there was a 3-foot gap in the wall and you told Hornaday to drive through it, he'd try it. So he won't do that kind of stuff anymore. Earnhardt has settled him down and made him a points racer.
He wanted to go to the outside, make it 2 abreast, but the 49 truck of Rodney Combs was there. He decided he better follow Mike Bliss. So there we see Robbie Gordon in 42, Mike Bliss in 2, Hornaday and Mike Skinner.
Gordon is 8th. You're riding in the 9th place truck, and that's the battle for 10th, side by side behind them. Not much to choose between Hornaday and Skinner at this point.
No, sure is.
Talked about the potential for change. If the race ended right now, that battle from 4th back through 10th. Butch Miller would pick up 2 spots. Mike Bliss would gain 1. Rutman would get 2. Resendez, who's dropped out and then come back out to the racetrack, would be down 3 spots. Hensley down a couple. Pirelli up 1. Refner down 1.
And Jack Sprague, the 24 truck, has caught Johnny Benson. What would cause this truck, Kyle, to be so bulky on the first few laps but come on strong now?
Well, you know, he's better on the long runs, which is a combination of a couple of things. It could be a shock and spring combination, but as much as anything else, it's an air pressure thing. You know, I think you said it before. Jeff Gordon was up on top of the roof coaching him. Obviously, there's some Hendricks influence there, and nobody messes with tire pressure more than those guys do. You know, and I think they've set this truck up for a little bit longer run, and that's why I said before, you know, by taking this race and breaking it down into thirds instead of halves, you've changed everybody's race strategy. So these guys are caught out a little bit, and they got to get caught up on it.
Air pressure is such a valuable tool in changing the handling of the car, the truck with radial tires. What's the least increment you can feel? And be honest with me now. Can you feel a half a pound? Can you feel a pound? Guys all talk about it. Can you really feel it?
And with a radial tire, you can feel a half a pound. You know, we've made adjustments before where you say, well, I want a little bit of wedge. I want a little bit of this. And they'll say, well, how about a half a pound of air pressure? And I used to laugh at them. And all of a sudden, we started doing it. And it's a big, big change with a radial tire. You'd never feel that with a bias-ply tire with the stuff we used to run. But with a radial tire, it's a major change. It not only, what it basically does is just changing the static spring rate of what the tire would be. If you jumped up and down on the tire, how high the tire would bounce if you just dropped it off of a building is basically what you're changing. But it changes the whole way that the car or truck feels.
All part of the technical progress of the sport. Benny?
Yes, it is. Looks like Sprague might be a little bit quicker than Benson right now.
Well, he's doing his best to get around him. We'll take a commercial break and come back and see if he can pull it off and get to second. Stay with us. As we come back, there is the attack from Sprague, and he's got the spot. He is around Benson and has taken over second position. Mark Martin, who's trying to become the 7th different truck race winner this year, is in front of this duo. And you get a glimpse of him there, maybe 10, 12 truck lengths in front of Sprague. And if indeed Sprague's truck gets better and better as it runs, he's hoping this thing will stay green and he'll run Martin down. Anybody at the prediction stage yet? Are you ready to say whether you think that'll make
I think that Sprague is a little faster than Martin right now. He probably has a better truck.
Here's another look at how it happened. Just as we were coming out of commercial.
A little bit of contact in the left rear of the 18 truck with the right front of the 24. And Benson goes up the racetrack to save it. Sprague was able to get under him.
But that's where Sprague had been really catching him. That's where he was his fastest, right dead in the center of the corner. And he just drove it down in there and let it drift up a little bit, which is okay.
Martin's been kind of the quiet man here all day. He's started from the outside pole, slipped back into the traffic, sat there, bided his time, used good race strategy, and now has emerged as the leader. And they're all chasing the Jack Roush truck here with the laps winding down.
Just 36 laps to go. Boy, this battle's been raging for 8 spots for about the last 10 or 15 laps.
Robbie Gordon in that 42 is doing a very good job here today. He started 6th. He's currently 8th. He's been out of the top 10, fought his way back in. He's been up toward the front, slipped backwards, but for the most part, he's kept his nose clean, kept the fender straight, and demonstrated that he has the potential to be a NASCAR driver.
Yeah, he's learning something here because he's had Hornaday slam on that rear bumper, and he's had Bliss slam on that rear bumper. Everybody that's come up to him has took a shot at him, and he's been able to maintain, which is really good.
Robbie Gordon, the 42 truck driver, supposed to drive the Winston Cup car of Dale Earnhardt's in Charlotte next weekend.
Now, who's going to crew that car? Is it going to be the Sabco crew? I heard Charbonnet was going to be the crew chief.
Charpentier.
The Charpentier.
Yeah, he's going to be the crew chief over there. He's our shot guy and our engineer right now on the 42 team. And you know, we've got 30, 40 guys that work at the shop. So we're running. Our Sabco's running 3 cars over there. So I guess Greg Saxon's going to drive one of the cars for First Union. He's going to drive Earnhardt's car with our crew, and then I'll be in our car with the other crew. So it'll be a big week for us over there.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Oh, yeah.
How many of those guys are you going to steal when you go start your new team?
Hey, that's already getting out. There's a few of them coming with me right now, and so it's kind of like a little chaotic down there right now. But I told them before, the first when they start quitting and walk out the door, I'll be the guy at the gate that says, "Hey, you got a job with me."
You're the only guy I can think of to afford to pay him better than old Felix.
And we see Hornaday getting by Mike Bliss, or almost, and contact.
Look out, Hornaday. That'll end your string in a hurry. What was that went flying?
Looked
Piece
like
of body work?
Looked like a piece of the right rear quarter panel.
Yahoo.
And Skinner trying to get on the inside of Hornaday. And Bliss cut down a tire. Oh, and Hornaday spins.
Hornaday spins it right in front of Mike Bliss. Little touch with the wall. Hornaday's string of having completed every lap this year will be broken here at North Wilkesboro if he goes a lap down.
And there's Mark Martin, the leader, and the right rear tire is flat, and Martin does put him a lap down.
Inadvertently, he all but pinched Martin up into the wall because the truck wouldn't steer. Let's take another look at how this apparently all started. Or perhaps all started.
It's a contact with Mike Bliss. You see as he come off the corner, Mike Bliss is out there, and when Hornaday comes up the racetrack, boom, right there, he cuts the right rear tire down.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't cut it down. Then the truck ran another lap, and then the right rear tire.
And then reminiscent of what happened when Hornaday and Sprague got together at Richmond. And Sprague went around, I guess, about 3 laps before the tire went down. So Hornaday is on pit road, the series point leader. Cannot lose the point lead today. We've made that point a couple of times, but it certainly appears he'll lose a chunk of it. Let's go to Marty.
Well, Joe Ruttman held the record last year. He completed all but 2 laps, and he has to get back out. It looks like he may lose one here, but Ron Hornaday, they did change that right rear, and now they are holding Ron Hornaday for a 2-lap penalty. And they say he passed the pace truck, so he just lost 2 laps. And now, right behind him, 2 pits back, is Mike Bliss. He is in, and he also is getting a tire change on the right front.
Who owns Skinner's truck. Childress, the owner of Skinner's truck, standing there, and as a coincidence of the camera angles kind of overshadowing Dale Earnhardt in that picture, and at the moment that's a reflection of what's happening on the racetrack as well. Earnhardt's truck on pit road. We'll be right back. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series visiting historic North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Carolina, and a wild afternoon it has been with 24 laps now to go. Let's look at what's happened to our point leader, Ron Hornaday.
Well, he loses the right rear tire. He goes flat. He's trying to come off turn 4, and around he goes, and just barely brushed the wall.
Rich Bickle's on-truck camera has been close to the action all day long. Here's his view.
Wow. Mike Bliss almost turned in front of him. Here we go. Green flag. Mark Martin brings him down.
This could be the run for the money right here. Lap 228, 250 is the race distance. Sprague didn't need that caution, but he got it and now has to live with it as he runs from second spot, trying to chase down Martin, and pursued in turn by the pole sitter Johnny Benson. That's Butch Miller third, and having come all the way from 16th spot, Kenny Wallace rides, or check that, Miller's in 4th and Wallace riding in 5th. There they are. We've talked a couple of times today about Sprague as we watch this incredible battle. Who's going to thread their way through that? We've talked about Sprague being good on long runs. Anybody want to speculate what a long run is comprised of here? Is 24 long enough?
I think 24 is long enough, don't you, Kyle?
I'm not sure.
Wow, there he is, sitting right straddling that fence again.
I might have to straddle that fence on that. I was looking more at the last run, 40 or 50 laps, 30, 40, 50 laps, somewhere in there. 25 laps might not be enough because it took him about 10 or 15 laps last time to get up. Now he's going to run up there and catch Mark past him and put a straightaway on him and make me look like an idiot before the race is over. But Mark's pretty good on.
Oh, and Bliss and the 52 truck get together. That's Toby Butler, almost spin. Hornaday watching all that stuff, but he has a new right rear tire that ought to help that 16 truck.
Yeah, the 16 truck is a lap down. And that,
He's a
after
couple
the
laps
penalty,
down.
he passed the pace truck, and they took that lap back and penalized him a lap. By my count, it should be 2 now, but that, for the moment, the monitor is showing him 1 lap down. Now, this is your race for position here, and the position in question is 8th. That's Robbie Gordon up on the outside, and Mike Skinner comes by on the bottom to take that position away. 8 is John Nemechek. He's last.
You know, these guys that are racing for points, they saw that 16 spin, and they're smelling blood right now. So they're charging back to the front to get as much as they can to catch up as much as they can while they got him down.
It's the first time all year that the armor around Hornaday's championship hopes has been pierced. As we watch this battle for third, Ron Hornaday has run every lap prior to today. We've got a spin, turn 2.
John Nemechek, the Delco Remy truck, is fun. He does a 360, and they all stop. He nails the gas, no caution.
That's the new style in stock car racing. When that thing starts to spin, you don't jump on the brakes like you old guys used to, right?
There's a battle for third spot. It's Butch Miller. Kyle, what's up with it? I used to hit the brakes. Now they hit the throttle.
I had to learn to hit the throttle. I grew up hitting the brakes and trying to get it woe down. Now everybody just stands in the gas. We saw it earlier with the Rodney Combs car. We saw it when the 3 cars spun. You just jump back in the gas, try to keep the car moving, try to spin it all the way around, and keep going. And surprisingly enough, 70 or 80% of the time, it works like we just saw.
Worked that time. Maybe that's why those sprint car guys sometimes can make the transition over to drive a stock car. They do that all the time. In any event, the issue at hand, well, there are a couple of them. One is whether or not Jack Sprague can run down the leader, Butch Miller. 2, how big a bite can Mike Skinner take out of Ron Hornaday's point lead? To finish that Hornaday story, he had run every lap this year coming into this race, but more significantly, he'd been in the top 10 every race, and in all but 3 races, he'd been in the top 5. That is impossible kind of performance to improve upon if you're racing for a championship. But today, he has slipped. So as Kyle pointed out, the question is how big a chunk everybody will take out of this man's point lead.
And Hornaday is truck. He's a couple laps down right now. All he needs to do is just try to finish, get the best spot he can. Currently, Ron Hornaday is in 23rd spot.
Never make it to the top 10 today.
Not today.
So just when it looked like Skinner may have given away his hope for victory with his misfortune at the Loudon, now the worm turns, and here we are.
Johnny Benson's Pennzoil truck seems to be struggling just a little bit now. As Joe Rutman closes up, looks on the inside. That's for 5th spot. And almost gets by, but not quite.
Randy Goss, the crew chief on that truck, comes out of the Motorcycle Wars. Says trying to figure out the setup on one of these trucks is like trying to do 10 motorcycles all at once. It's complicated.
And we can see just 9 laps to go. There's Mark Martin and there's Sprague. And Mark Martin right now is running across some pretty heavy traffic. He just was able to get by John Nemechek. Sprague gets under him, and he's closing up just 3 or 4 car lengths. And the 42 of Robbie Gordon spins. And the caution flag comes out.
He got his foot down pretty hard as he comes into the truck racing wars here. Remember, they don't race back to the yellow in the truck rank, so as soon as the yellow came out, the positions were locked in. What that will do is erase the gap between Mark Martin and Jack Sprague. We'll be back for the shootout right after this. There will be 6 laps to go when they get the signal. 1 lap to go to the green, and Benny, that is significant in truck racing.
It is, because in NASCAR rules, 10 laps to go, Kyle, the cars line up single file, no double restarts.
No double restarts. Everybody that's in the lead lap goes to the front of the pack in their position, and they've got a clean racetrack to race on, so you don't have to worry about barreling off in the first corner with somebody under you.
Here's why we get what we hope will be the last caution of the day. 42 is Gordon, 43 is Bickle.
From off the corner, a little bit of tap from Rich Bickle, and around goes Robbie Gordon. And watch this as he nailed. We don't have the rest of it. He nailed the gas, did that 360, and it was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty.
Nailed the gas twice, just about spun her out the second time. You don't want to overdo that maneuver. Been a lot of talk all day long about long runs for Jack Sprague. He won't get one. He's got 5 laps to try to whip Mark Martin.
And I don't think there's a better 5-lap racer in the country than Mark Martin. I'm just going to tell you that. My money's on Mark Martin right now.
Lowe's got a restart. He's done that ever since he's taken the lead. He's gotten a great jump and did again this time. 247 complete.
Rich Bickle trying to get by the 18 truck. And there's Mike Skinner trying to get by the Rich Bickle truck.
And that's the excitement. I'm not sure there's going to be a battle for the lead. The question is how far through this pack Skinner will be able to move. He is currently 9th, working on 8th.
And after a restart like this at the end of the race, everything's so close. You know, Bickle's trying to maintain that position. Everybody is, because if you get knocked to the outside, you can get freight trained all the way back from 6 to about 15.
16, Hornaday, the big loser here today. Skinner looks inside. Bickle's not going to give it up easily. It is all but over for Mark Martin. Started from the outside pole and appears set to win it here just a couple of laps from now.
And Butch Miller's taking a look on the inside of the 24 truck. He wants some of Jack Sprague, looks like.
And Kenny Wallace is back there hoping to make something happen as they come to the white flag. 1 to go. If it's going to happen, it's going to have to happen in the next 20 seconds. Here they are on the final lap.
Butch Miller tried to fake to the outside. Now he's going to look to the inside. But can he get there? Here he comes.
Wrinkled her up a little bit. Made the contact, but didn't press it. And as they come off the corner, Mark Martin will win it. Sprague 2nd, Miller 3rd, Wallace 4th, Rutman 5th. Mark Martin, who owns 2 Winston Cup victories and 1 pole here, becomes the first winner in the Jack Roush trucks for 1996. We'll take a break and hear from him when we come back. Now the race is history. Mark Martin has won it. The fans are on their feet cheering the Winston Cup star, who is now with Marty Reed.
Well, last year was Mike Bliss with his first truck win here at North Wilkesboro, and here's another little piece of history for Mark Martin. Congratulations. Nice drive.
Well, I just want to thank this Exide team, Jack Roush, for giving me a chance. And Exide and Ford, we had a good truck today, and we played it smart, conserved our tires, and let it rip when it was time to go.
Guys, you mentioned up top that he was kind of quiet in the early part of the race, but he is definitely a hot shoe today.
Time to go was lap 178. That's when Martin took the lead and held it all the way to the end. Sprague makes the big jump in terms of the points. Miller and Wallace came from 14th and 15th starting spots respectively, Benny.
And Rick Corelli from 21st. And now let's look back to 16 through 30. Jimmy Hensley will lead that group. Ron Hornaday finishes 22nd, 2 laps down. That being significant, 2 laps down.
Compare that with the 9th place finish for Mike Skinner, and the points will collapse as a result here. The gap from 1st to 2nd to 3rd, and just like that, it appears on your television screen. Skinner and Sprague have both still got a shot at it.
They have a shot, and they're just 7 points apart going into next week's race at Sears Point.
And we, of course, will be bringing you that here on ESPN. That is the Cragen NASCAR Saturday. And we'll be there live at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, Sears Point Raceway, Sonoma, California, for the Craftsman trucks on the road course. Can Jim Colbert become the first 3-time winner of the Vantage Championship Senior PGA Tour event just down the road in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina? Find out next here on ESPN. Our thanks to Benny Parsons and Kyle Petty, as always, for being part of the telecast. Hope you enjoyed it. Our congratulations to Mark Martin for his victory here on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.